There's the star of the show.
Look at them milk jugs.
Oh boy.
First thing we're going to do is actually take a few strips of milk out of each teat. And the reason we do that is to examine the milk to make sure that it looks and appears normal. If it's not normal, we don't milk her for food consumption. We'll get rid of it. But today, she's all, like most times, is all clear and good to go. So what we do is we take a few strips, make sure it's good normal milk, and then she's going to apply some iodine teat spray. And we place iodine teat spray on there to just disinfect the teats and make sure there are no germs or bacteria on them. You gotta remember, cows live outside. They don't live in a sterile world. So we do our best to make sure they're very clean and provide healthy milk for us every time we harvest milk from Miss Lavender. So what she's doing is taking a few wipes with a dry paper towel to remove the iodine after it's had time to do its job. And then she's going to put the milking machine on to each teat. And it's kind of like a massaging action inside the teacup. So it doesn't hurt the cow. It's actually very relaxing to her. And in the meantime, since we've applied teat dip and we've stripped some milk out of each teat, that has sent a signal to her brain to release oxytocin. So for some of you who may be parents, remember oxytocin is really important for milk letdown, to feed your baby or to release milk on a dairy cow. So oxytocin tells her, yep, it's time to milk. And then the milk flows down into the claw, so our front row viewers can see it there on the bottom between her legs. And then it follows the plastic tubing all the way up to that clear Pyrex pipeline. You can see that kind of flushing in on the backside there. In the meantime, we're going to measure how much milk she has in the meter that hangs right below the pipeline. From the pipeline, it flows into the receiver jar. It's kind of that big glass globe down in that next window. And then once the receiver jar gets full, it gets pumped over into the milk cooler in the next station next door, that big silver tank. Does anybody know how warm the milk is when it comes out of a cow? Anybody have a guess? Feel free to interact. This is going to be fun. Well, we had 5 degrees. Unfortunately, that's a little too cold. That would be frozen. So it's going to be greater than 32. 35 degrees. We're going to come back to like 35 to 38 degrees in a few minutes, why that's really important. But a cow's actual body temperature is 101.5 degrees. So that's how warm the milk is when it comes out of her. So our normal body temperature is about 98.5, right? So about the same for our dairy cow. But when we harvest her milk, we want it to get chilled and cooled down very quickly. So that's why it gets put and pumped into the cooler where it stirs and agitates and cools quickly. At my family's dairy farm, we actually have what's called a plate cooler, where the milk runs between thin plates and water circulates around it, so it extracts the heat out of the milk and then warms water up, and then we feed that to our cows as they leave the parlor. So we cool the milk down, we feed our cows nice warm water as they leave, and it's a win-win for us. We store the milk in the cooler at 38 degrees. That's kind of our happy medium for very nice, stable temperature for the milk to be held until it's picked up. Here at the Wisconsin State Fair, it's being picked up by Baker Cheese up by St. Cloud. And after today's demonstration, you get a really great tasty treat from them with some string cheese. But the Baker Cheese will pick it up and then take it to their processing plant where they'll then use it to make cheese. So on average, a dairy cow is going to have 1 baby every 12 to 15 months, give or take. And she won't have her first baby until she's about 2 years old. So that's where a cow reaches, a bovine, reaches their full maturity. It's about 2-ish years old. So the first 2 years, she's kind of like a kid. They eat a lot, grow, eat a lot. And then once they're old enough, that's when they start producing milk and have their first calf. On average, these cows will eat between 70 to 100 pounds of feed per day. So that's like a couple of you guys all put together. That's how much food she'll eat. Does anybody know what kind of food we feed our cows? Yeah. Hay, yep, hay, grass. What other kind of plant is used for hay? Do you know? Anybody want to help her out? It's a green plant out in the field. Soybeans, that'll be a protein that we're going to feed cows, soybean meal. Alfalfa is the grass that I'm looking for, and alfalfa is really cool because we store it and dry it to feed our cows all year long. But then in the meantime, it also puts nitrogen in the soil because it's a legume. So some cool science and soil information for you today too. So alfalfa, soybean meal, what else do we feed cows? Grass, yep. How about corn? Yeah, we feed cows corn for a source of energy. And then they also get vitamins and minerals. And their whole diet is developed to make them super healthy and to grow and produce healthy milk. So I like to think of dairy cows as kind of like super athletes, right? Like there are some athletes who can run a marathon in 2.5 hours. That's 26.2 miles in 2 hours. That's crazy. There are some of us who are just kind of average athletes, can't run that far or that fast. So we have different dietary needs. So nutritionists are dairy cow feed deciders. They tell us what is the best thing to feed our cows and how much. Each of our cows also has veterinary care. So we have a big team of professional people that are doctors and nutritionists and PhDs that help us do the best we can with our dairy cows. So we harvest the milk 2 to 3 times per day, and my family's milk actually gets picked up and is processed typically into cream cheese or cheddar cheese. Here in Wisconsin, over 90% of our milk is turned into actual real cheese. Sometimes our milk takes a really long ride down to St. Louis and it's put into bottles down there. So depending on the day and the need, our milk gets used for many different things. Does anybody know how much water a cow drinks? I struggle to get a gallon in per day. I don't know about some of you moms and dads out there, but sometimes a little short. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great guess. About 40 gallons of water. So I always like to say a bathtub full of water. There's a lot of water to drink in a day. But that's really important for her to stay hydrated and healthy and for her job to make milk. How about any questions you might have so far?